All right, welcome everybody to the All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We'll be going through live order flow analysis using Bookmap. And the goal here in the webinar is to look for opportunities using order flow. And how do we do that? What is order flow? Well, order flow is understanding the condition of the orders in the market. Okay, both historically. Bookmap shows that really well historically, and it also shows it for the current order book. We're talking about the limit orders here. Also the market buy and sell orders. Okay, that's the volume, transactions, and then the market structure. We'll talk about all of those and look at the context between them and get some sort of advantage from that by understanding the players in the auction. How can we understand the players? Well, the only way that they can interact is with their orders. Okay, this is very different than was years ago in open outcry, or you'd call the exchange on a telephone and say, I want to buy this, and the runner would go down and place a ticket with the in the pit, and they would make the exchange, and then he'd run back and into the office and tell the broker, yeah, okay, he was filled for this amount, and all sorts of front running happened and buying before large orders, etc. It happens today too in the electronic markets, but the only way that they can interact is with orders, and that's where the edge comes in with order flow. All right, we had the Bookmap Academy last night at market close. These are the four things that we look at and go through in our kind of a journal or playlist here, building it out. The impetus, what's moving the market. Now, these are high level, right? Very high level. We should know these things before we get into the market. What's moving the market? What's the news? What's the geopolitical events out there? What are the key levels? Number two, on the high time frame. And then we start to develop scenarios and strategies around those areas. And then we can pick our levels where we want to deal, and we select a setup for it. Okay, so we have a checklist on it. We already know our setup. We should know it intimately. We should know exactly the mechanics of that setup, and then we just jump in we determine the setup sizing, the risk that you want to take, and you just follow the order flow and execute your trade. All right, we got a few questions already. Do I ever do? No, I was never on the floor, Stephen. Yeah, I avoided all of that. I visited both New York Stock Exchange here and also the CME. There's nothing going on there except it was the euro dollar, and not the euro dollar that we're talking about here. It's a different contract that had some action. Not much, but there were a few people there. It's really a museum. Both places are really a museum. Anyway, interesting stuff. That's the history, though. And now it's all electronic, and we can go through and see all sorts of things in here. Now, we just went through the thanks, Stephen, you put in the recording there for the Bookmap Academy last night. A subset of the Bookmap Academy is this pilot program. It is something we put together here because, after working with so many different traders, I just found that it was what's really missing here, and it's just driving me crazy, is people don't have an edge. They will watch a video, they'll attend a webinar, they'll read a book, they'll understand the setup, they'll understand all the mechanics of the setup perfectly. You look for this, you look for that. You get in here, and you get out there. You place your stop there. But that's not an edge. Okay, an edge is something you build over time, and you have statistics around it. Most traders aren't doing that. They're just taking shots in the dark, thinking, oh, well, it worked for this guy. He made millions, so it should work for me. We've all been there. We've all done this time and time again. We don't know how to build an edge, though. We don't know if we have an edge. So this program here is designed to change it. I can show you the web page and how to get there. Just go to bookmap.com, click on the More button here, and then under the community here, you'll see the Academy here, and then under that, you'll see Bruce's pilot program. Click on that, and you can sign up here. Okay, you do not need. There's no cost to it. You will need to have Bookmap though. Okay, so you do not need to pay anything extra for it. Anyway, this is a very. I'm really happy about this program. People are doing really well in it. We have a structured process for you to follow. It's measurable. We build qualitative and quantitative data, and it's the fastest method I've seen because you actually trade it in replay mode, and you can speed it up in replay mode. Anyway, that's the pilot program. Let's go through the disclosures and then we'll jump in. General disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's go in. Let's take a look here. All right, interesting. Okay, we are breaking out now. Guys, before we jump into like a breakout trade here, which it might break out, right? I'm going to kind of jump ahead here. In this environment right now that we're trading in, I am not looking for breakouts. Okay, I'm looking for exactly this, and then I'm looking for it to fade back into the range. All right, so this would be a false breakout, and I'm looking for sellers now and for them to drive it down into high liquidity like 77 here or 70 down here, or maybe even 60 down here at the other side of the range. Okay, so now I know, like, we see the volume building in here. We have, like, you know, kind of even like a cup and handle type of pattern in here. But in this environment right now, what I've seen happen again and again is we trade up into high liquidity here. We see the breakout, and we're just not getting follow through. And sellers will take it down pretty hard to some of these other levels down here to find liquidity, or maybe we just don't find enough buyers up in here to break out, and then then we can look for buyers to come back in. Maybe this was low enough here, right? I would have looked for the 77 to trade, and maybe it still does. Okay, but I'm not going to get caught up in false breakouts. Okay, this is the environment we're in. If you are still looking for it to trade back up here and you're bullish, okay, wait for this pullback in here. Wait for that kind of cup and handle pattern. So like right here, see this move right here? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, let's just go back here. Okay, here's breakout, right? Nice volume. And then look at the buyers up in here. Exhaustion, a little bit of buying, a lower high, sellers, an equal high, not much buying, okay, some buying, and then more sellers come back in, okay? So what happens? Well, we break down below the swing, and then we get a V bottom, and then we find buyers, and then we break to a new high. Okay, so that's the environment that I'm looking for. Same with the breakout that just occurred here right now. Okay, so yeah, here, this is our V bottom here. I was looking for a little bit more here, maybe down to 77. Okay, but it looks like we're going to come up to 90 now. So it looks like buyers are accepting above here. Okay, above this 69.80 level here. I do have this as an options level here, this 69.80 as kind of minor amount of calls compared to, well, the big call area up here is at 7,000. I've got some puts down here at 65 50 or 69.50, etc. All right, here we go. Look at this. Here's another false breakout in here. Retest the other side. Now we might get another V bottom here and a move back up, and then maybe we get our breakout. Maybe, right? It's a scenario. Do I see it starting to unfold right now? Nope, I don't. Anyway, it's a tricky environment. Okay, let's see if we get it here. All right, so just up to here, right? Just up to this 86 level here. And then we'll see if we get some follow through. No, it exhausted out here, right? Okay, so anyway, we're looking for, see the clusters of buying up in here? And then it fades back down to the bottom of the range, and then look for the cluster of buying to reoccur back up here, and then we're looking for just a small breakout, maybe up into 90, right? That would be it. Okay, and then another fade. All right, let's jump back though. And why are we looking for this environment? Let me get see YouTube here if we got any questions so far. No. Okay, great. Yeah, well, the environment is traders just don't know. There's a lot of things going on out there, so there's no real kind of I would say like a big driving direction, basically. So we'll see these breakouts, but then it fades right back in. Right? This is the why, understanding why we're looking for these things to unfold. Now we're going to just, we jump down. We look at our key levels. Okay, this was a breakout of the swing high here from the cash. And then we're looking for the fade back in. Then we're looking for a retest back up, and then maybe the breakout. Okay, here we got our answer up here. We see exhaustion, and then now the sellers are coming in. So let's see the sellers now. They've taken it down to this swing. Is that low enough for buyers? I'd like to see them take it down into 77 liquidity. I don't see many buyers here. I see a lot of sellers in here. Okay, where are we going to find buyers? They're down here. They're down at the swing. Okay, and they're advertising right here. We see it right here in the order book. Okay, and they came in right after this move to the upside. Right here. Okay, and again, we don't know, right? In this environment, back and forth like this, all of a sudden there could be a tremendous amount of aggressive buyers. I don't see a lot right now, but it's maybe starting to build. And if they do, then they can take it up into 87 and 90. Okay, but I'm going to wait until I see it trade with buyers down here on the bid. And then I want to see it come back up. And then I want to see those aggressors, because I want to lean on, and this is the same we look for that trendline break accumulation trade. I want to lean on these passive buyers here. Okay, when we lean on only the aggressors in here, it's pretty moody. We don't see a lot of follow through. Okay, because it's only aggressors, right? They kind of it kind of tapers off, it kind of exhausts out, and then it goes back and forth in here, and they're just fighting. The aggressors are just fighting back and forth in here, right? We want to see something more conclusive. All right, guys. So anyway, like what pilot program, guys, I want to mention in here, like this kind of filtering in here, it's critical, right? And like I said, I keep promising, almost threatening, I'll come up with these guides for you. They're a work in progress, and how to do this bigger picture filtering first. It's really important. It'll keep you out of a lot of chop and a lot of trades, and it'll just keep you out of frustration. All right. In fact, guys, I put in a here. Let me show you in the pilot program. I just added just before this webinar from yesterday's price action right here. Okay, here a new feed here. Okay, so this is from yesterday. So trendline break accumulation file and setup for the ES. I think you guys were talking about it yesterday in some of the chat. I can show it to you, the setup. It's let's see. Yesterday. Yeah, here we go. Okay, this big move down. All right, I'm gonna go over yesterday's action first, and then we'll jump back into you know, our impetus, moving the market, etc. I think this is a really valid to cover here, and on days like this when it's moving down hard. What are our expectations? We've learned about this move. Now let's go to our candles in here. It's this move here. Now on the daily, you can see the move here. But look at this massive wick on this daily candle over here. Yeah, let me zoom in a little bit more here. All right, there we go. So look at this huge wick, but this was all red yesterday. Look like, you know, everything's coming to an end, right? It's going to come back down to the swing here, down to these swings, etc. Okay. Now, what it did is it came back down to the figure of 6,900 right here. Now, did you guys probably saw, or maybe I'm hoping you weren't like, you know, trying to catch the falling knife in here, okay, and waiting, because we're going to look for a reversal. We know it's coming. And because of just ATR here is pretty big, and we're looking for levels, key levels now on this move in here. At least I was, because we always find we can consistently find buyers at these lows here, and we're in this back and forth kind of environment where it gets low enough to find buyers. So anyway, I was looking at some of these swings in here. Okay, so a swing up here, a swing here, thinking, well, this looks pretty good. We'll probably see a reversal in here. We didn't. You know, there was a lot of momentum here. There's 2 hours of pure momentum to the downside, and we trade back down into this kind of little area right in here, and it happens to be the figure down here. Okay, so that's where we traded to, and then we saw the reversal unfold and the move to the upside. Okay, so I don't know if you guys caught it. I'm hoping you caught it on the way down and on the way back up. But here is the setup in here, and it's the file that I just put into the room for you guys in the materials section. Okay, so yeah, okay, you know, you can draw your trend line multiple ways here, from the swing to like something like this. In hindsight, it looks beautiful, right? Well, it wasn't so easy, you know, yesterday, because the move was super strong to the downside. Maybe you tried to buy it in here. Maybe you had another trend line in here. You're trying to buy it in here, right? You know, that's okay as long as you meet the criteria. I would just say that there's a few filters in here that will really help, and that's why I wanted to go over yesterday's action. And the filters here are the higher time frame, the impetus, what's moving the market, and how's that market moving. Okay, we don't want to get in the way of this freight train, you know, run into the downside. It'll just run you right over. We want to wait until we get to key levels and we see these big pockets already of buying. Look at this buying in here. That helped slow this train down, right? Also, what else helped it slow it down? high liquidity on the bid all the way down here. Okay, so we can zoom in a little closer here. And then here, 1, 2, 3. So you guys might have gotten that one. And I'm hoping if you did, maybe you took some off up in here, hit your single, or maybe it came back down. You got stopped out at break even or plus. Okay, maybe you got a small loss on it, and then there's another one in here. And what's the difference here, though? Okay, in the setup. So this is for Nadia, who did a great job last night in the pilot program with some of her content there. So let's go through the context in this one. Okay, the context is this. See this cluster of buying in here? See the volume delta bars down here and the dots? Look at the angle and the speed of this. There's a lot of buying. Okay, we still go lower. Okay, now we go lower into what though? So high liquidity, high liquidity, high liquidity. Okay, so there's 3. I mean, there's more than 3, but just look at that. And we have a cluster of buying here. This is a context in here. We see it all the time in this setup in here. That this cluster is important, and it doesn't. It kind of turns into like maybe a head and shoulders. Sometimes you get one more move, and then you get kind of the shoulder over here on the right. In this case, it just made a lower low, and then boom, it's off to the races. It's because there's already buying here aggressively, and there's already passive buying in here. Okay, so now we're looking for the structure to break, and we're looking for those buyers to come in again and start lifting it, and we're targeting swings and high liquidity. And this was a really nice move. Okay, back up into high liquidity here, and it continued on up for the day. Okay, there was a strong move. And here's market close, right? It almost retraced, almost all the way up. So anyway, did anyone grab that? You guys laying and waiting and watching for this one and pouncing on it? There's another context in here I want to go over quickly, and then we'll jump into live activity and what's going on. This context in here, this big cluster in here. So we're looking at this context of the buyers. Okay, we're still in a downward move, right? We know we're making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, we also know the accumulation passively is big. And there's big clusters of aggressive accumulation. They just couldn't put higher. All right, so at this point down here, are we really looking for a pullback? Okay, because of all this buying in here, and the higher time frame, the figure here. Okay, are we really looking? Are we really going to look for a pullback? This is something to consider, because this is all you got on the pullback. And it just went straight up. Okay, you would have missed it. How do you want to manage something like that? If you miss it, you miss it. Or do you want to start to amend some of the ways that you look at this when you see like a big cluster of buying in here, and you also know there's a lot of other buying in here? Once we break the structure and you see that buying, you start to target it. You're not necessarily looking for that pullback. That's why you get these moves in here. Okay, there doesn't have to be a pullback. There's no more selling anymore, right? There's more buying, and any sellers that are in here, they're going to be buying anyway on the way back up. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, putting that again is context in here. This move in here, we're putting into the context to what's over here. All right. Let's move on, and we'll go to the current market. Okay, interesting. All right, so here's our false breakout, and here's our move into, we were looking for this 77, maybe a little bit lower, and then down here at 70. And we also said 60 potentially. Okay, this is the environment we're in. Look at all of this buying up in here, and then the sellers take it right back down. All right, so now I'm looking for a bounce here. Okay, let's just zoom out a little bit more. Okay, here's our 930 cash open. We're just below it. Let's see what we get down here. Okay, do we get enough accumulation on the buy side here? Not bad. One, it's not that great here, but 2 and 3, not bad. Okay, so we see the selling in here, but we also see the passive accumulation. All right, so what about a structure? Let's put that on here. Okay, we've got this trend line. We also have a horizontal line here. Okay, bid looks pretty strong. Let's see, do we get our aggressors in here? Yeah, not really, not really. So this might be another false break here. I'm not getting in. I would not be getting in on this. Yeah, I would look for another pullback in here. Okay, what about what we just covered? Clusters of buying. Well, here's a cluster here, right? How much is it though, compared to some of that selling? Okay, it was different before, right? It was a lot more buying in here. So I don't think we're ready yet. Okay, maybe then I will wait for this liquidity down here to trade before I and then we'll see, right? Okay, so let's go back over our bigger picture here. Impetus, what's moving the market. So we got all sorts of stuff out there. I mean, it just seems to be never ending. With the Trump administration, it's always exciting. So we also have a lot more just on top of that. So he's looks like he's chosen the next Fed chairman. The market doesn't really like it, it seems, but we also had earnings, Meta, Tesla, Microsoft. We have more tech coming along the way, and Meta's was good, but Microsoft has sold off. So there's still tech jitters out there, and so I would have missed this, guys. I would have missed it, right? We put it out, and even this one here, I don't like it. I'd look for one more kind of hit lower here, but as you can see, it's we see the buyers coming in here. Looks pretty good. Okay, now there's a possible flag pattern on a pullback here, and then the move back up right here to 75. Okay, you have to be really quick on that though, but there it is. Okay, there's this small pullback and then the continuation. Anyway, the setup was there. It's tricky, right? The file that I gave yesterday, it's also tricky, but this is the environment. I'd also be taking my profits pretty quick. I would have taken some off here at 75. Maybe I'd be holding for 85, but yeah, I don't know. High volume node here at 80. We have some calls up here as well. That's a great place to take some profit. Okay, I like the high liquidity here at 75. Would have taken some off there for sure. Also completes that little flag pattern there. And flag pattern, all we mean is like there's a breakout, there's a pause, there's not a lot of selling, and then there's more buying. And then we can look for that and target high liquidity. Or we can also target swings here. And here's not bad actually up here, this 80 level, and we have a high volume node up here. or it's the POC. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on. We had dollar weakness. Now we have dollar strength. Which is a weird one. I don't know how to put that into context, to be honest. Because with this Warsh guy, um, as his new Trump's new pick, it looks like, for the Federal Reserve, you know, he's going to be pretty dovish. So I would think the markets would respond pretty aggressively to the upside on that. Instead, we're selling off. Okay, so tech is a very mixed bag, and Microsoft down, Amazon restructuring, cutting jobs, yeah, more geopolitical stuff. The VIX, we saw a little spike just up to about 20 yesterday, but we're right back down now. So it's pretty mixed bag out there. That is why we're not buying breakouts. Okay. We're going to wait for pullbacks and then maybe buy the breakout. This pullback, we were sitting right here, like, we liked it. We thought, well, maybe if it can come back up here again and we get those buyers, we'd target this 90. We didn't get him, right? And then we kind of turned our heads and went over the yesterday's action, etc. And we kind of missed this move here. We were sitting right in front of it and watching this move here and kind of missed it too. I just didn't find an entry for it. Okay, there's a pullback here. Again, like some of these pullbacks in here, I just don't know how much supply they have here on these pullbacks. So I'm not interested. There's a nice little cluster right in here, right where that little flag pattern occurred. Guys, note this. I mean, we've covered a million times, right? This is where it started. The buying started again, and that's the zone that it came to, and then we bounced again. Okay, now here we go again, and buyers coming back in. Again, I am not interested in buying up here. Okay, it might break out. It might come up to 85 here, but I am not interested in buying a breakout. Okay, I would wait for. I'm looking for it to pull back. Okay, false breakouts, not finding enough buyers. Sellers take it down, and then maybe the buyers find it low enough to take it back up. That's one of the setups I actually wanted to cover in that supply and demand course, but kind of just shied away from it. It was, I mean, instead of like getting that weak top up here, kind of like this right here, but then you'll see a big pullback, right? Yeah. And then we come down low enough, and then we see a V, right? It'll do something like this, and then come back up, and then kind of go like this, and then break out. Anyway. Yeah, pretty choppy, Stephen. Yeah, Charles, I can see. Yeah, I can just hear it as well. So we're in a chop zone. I mean, the reason that we're going through and filtering like this is because we we want an edge, and we don't know if we don't our setup's not aligning, so we're not taking the risk. Okay, so just traded up the high liquidity here at 85. Let's see if we get some sellers now. Okay, retest. Let's see if we can. Maybe we can see if we get the retest here and then the sellers come in. Let's take a look here, because like here's our double top kind of, right, and I'm not seeing a lot of buyers here. They're trying even underneath here. They're trying. Okay, but let's see if we can see these sellers now. Maybe we get our V now, right, and our V would come down to here at 80 instead. Something like that, and then back up, and then our back and forth, and then move up. Okay, well, almost. I'd still look for it to. I'm still looking for it down here. This is where you just got to figure. Where are we going to find buyers? We're not finding them up here, right? Where are we going to go low enough to find some buyers? Maybe here, maybe like at this 80 level. It's also some options there. So maybe at 80, maybe a little lower, maybe below here at 67.5. I bet if we come back down to 67.5 and we start to see some buyers come in, then we can rocket right back up. Let's see if there's any questions. Another thing in this kind of choppy environment in here is trap traders. Okay, knowing where they're trapped, knowing where they're going to have to cover. Okay, we can use the stops and icebergs for that. Like this in here, you see this move to the upside in here. This is a pretty nice stop run from negative 300 or so on up to. So it's only about 150. It's not that much. But one of the bigger ones for the day, at least. Okay, so our traditional technical analysis in here, we're looking for it to break, basically, for it not to work. It's trappy, it's back and forth, it's choppy. It really comes down to kind of these buyers and sellers, where they are, how much liquidity they have, how much they take, and then how much aggressors there are. The aggressors being the hardest one, I think. I mean, once you see them, it's easy. But look at the bid in here. Bid looks pretty good, but are we getting aggressive buyers? Not yet. Right now we're starting to. So they pump the bid a little bit here, and we get a few. Okay. Now here's our back and forth environment. So they pumped it, and then sellers came back in and hit these guys here at this 84 3/4. Okay. Do they still have more selling pressure? Let's see. Right here at this bottom edge, 84.5. Let's see if we get it. Nope. Nope. More buyers. Okay, coming up to 90. Finally coming up to 90. This is what we're looking for over here. Laura, and I don't know if is Nadia in here. Yeah, Nadia's in here. Okay, great. So you guys, or you ladies, have been asking about key levels, okay, and how to kind of filter also for key levels. Okay, well, this is our key level here, and we mentioned it in real time. Okay, so we're looking for this potential setup in here. Okay, and I missed it on the entry in here. I would have gotten this little flag in here, but I would have gotten out pretty quickly too, and then I would have missed this as well. I just didn't see the liquidity supporting it in here. I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to put the risk on. Anyway, but this down here, getting to the key level. Okay, so what might kind of look like noise in here is it's not. This is our 930 cash open, and this is the swing low here for the cash, right? And we mentioned that, and then we mentioned also, you know, we kind of zoom out a little bit, like maybe it comes back down into some of these swings from the pre-market, but this is the important one here. Or we want to see where there's a reaction, is really to verify if it's important or not. Okay, well, is it? Let's take a look. Right, we just go across here. We got a bounce off of it here. We come back down and below it here, below that swing, right? But into buyers down here on the bid. All right, and then we went through this whole scenario in here, like cluster of buying, but looking for another move lower. This was not enough for me. We marked up the structure break in here pretty quickly before the break happened, but we saw the buyers in here, and then we saw all these kind of sellers in here. No, I need to look. I need to see it trade back down into more passive buyers, and then find more aggressive buyers in here. Okay. That was the context that I read, and I missed it. Okay, but the key level though was, this is where we got our reaction. Okay, and it is the cash here, cash open, right? I'll put together a list for everybody on the key levels, because remember, like last week we saw a key level being the overnight, and it was, you don't see it on your daily candlestick, you know, if you're only looking at a cash session, you're not going to see it on your candlestick chart at all. On the ones that I have here, I didn't see it, right? But it was important. It was important because that's where we had a reaction from traders, and that's what's the key takeaway. All right, let's take a look at this move in here. Yikes! Look at how choppy it is. Okay, it's just like stripes here. A move up, red, green, a move down, red, a move up, green, and just filled the gap from yesterday, and then we're coming back down. See a wick. Okay, slight breakout here, and then the sellers come back in. Okay, we didn't get that little V and then push. It kind of just grinded up into these areas, and then we got the breakout here, and now we're seeing it come back down. Okay, so sellers coming back in. First swing here, it already traded. Got a bounce with liquidity. Next swing would be down here, where we're just about there. Also down here, and I like to match up the swings with liquidity. Okay, through these calls in here. Okay, so next level is down here. at 70. Okay, so let's go back over this again with our key levels. This is a good exercise, I think. What are our key levels here right now? Okay, well, they're all intraday for the cash session, right? We don't really see any key levels. I mean, we said maybe here just because of the swings in here. It's already traded to it. Okay, well, it would be here. This would be more of a key level here for the intraday. Okay, now that's an intraday key level though, right? So it is less important than the swing high and swing low for the day, or yesterday's high, yesterday's low, gap fill. The overnight would be depends on where it is. That might be important or not. So yeah, I would. I don't know if it's going to be important or not. We'll have to see when we get down there, right? So let's jump back in here. Is that clear about understanding like these intraday levels in here? Stay away from them unless you see a lot of activity in there that supports it. Okay, and it has to be a lot. Okay, because like these kinds of areas in the intraday, they'll just get blown through, just like it's doing right now. In fact, if you're in a momentum trade, look for it to blow through these levels, okay? And then start to target the a little bit better, at least for the intraday, to take some off and manage the trade, because maybe you'll get a bounce down here. Yeah, I like this level in here. In fact, note we've got two options levels in here. They're both heavy call areas. Okay, here at 70 and also at 80, so 10 points. Okay, so maybe we'll find some buyers and trade right back up to this 80 level where it just dropped from really quickly. All right, so now that would be an intraday scalp though that you're looking for. And it never came back down here though, and it didn't fill liquidity down here, so I would have avoided it as well as a scalp. In fact, I would still just be bearish here. Right? Looking for it to trade into 70. Okay, and then we'll see. So Laura and Nadia, you had questions on these key levels, or higher time frame key levels. Okay, so I'm starting to kind of address them through these intraday levels in here. Okay, and you can still look for these intraday levels and something to happen around them, like a bounce in here. Like right. Okay, so we're just trading to it now. Okay, but what we're looking for though is well, first off, did it transact? Not really. This is just not giving me much, right? There, now it's transacting. Okay. All right, so now let's go through an idea then. Okay, we're at an intraday key level and options. Let's see if we can break that, and where might we come? Hitting our single would be back up here at 75. And we might come to 80. But what are we looking for here? First, we're looking for, again, at this level here, this intraday level. Okay, it's asking a lot too, because we don't see these pockets of buyers. We don't see a lot of passive liquidity getting filled, right, on this small time frame. Okay, so maybe it has to dip lower before we get any buyers. Maybe we just don't get any buyers at all. It just continues to rip through this level here. I'm just looking at it thinking like for the intraday, I'm expecting or anticipating a bounce, just a bounce, okay, not much. All right, and that would be the context. Okay, so now let's see if we get that. Okay, so now we have a few higher liquidity levels in here, a little pocket of buying, it's not much. And now let's see if we can see some changes here in the flow. There we go, there they are. Okay, now where are they going to go? Right, well, how much do they have behind them? Pretty good, pretty good. We have this passive liquidity and we see these buyers. I would target this 75. I would get in front of it by a tick or two. Okay, and that would be it. I would hit my single and I'd be out. This would be an intraday scalp. Okay, based off of the same process we use for the trendline break accumulation on the higher time frame, but we're just, our expectations are lower here. It's a scalp. Right, still looking for that target here. Here's our little low volume pullback right in between it here. Okay, very typical, happens after the first move. Okay, these are order flow events that we're looking at, and we're putting it together where we see a very small reversal here. And now it didn't hit our target, right? And we're right back to where these buyers came in. Okay, so either, and do we see support in here? I don't, right? I would just, if I didn't take my profit in here, I would be stopped out of the trade in here. Okay. So it would have been a scratch. Okay, I was anticipating the move to 75. So now let's take that idea in here. Nadia, the key levels are for reversals are clear. But which levels can be important for pullbacks? Okay, the pullback is a different animal completely. All right, I'm going to go through it, and we're going to use again. We're going to go through context in here to put these pieces together. Okay, so understand the reversal first. This is why I wanted to go through, and we did go through the trendline break accumulation reversal pattern first, because we want to understand passive accumulation. It's really important, Nadia. And you have, all of you guys have, you guys have marked them up, and you see it, right? And then we want to, in a downtrend, we want to see a lot of passive accumulation. We want to see it absorb that selling pressure. That's why it's a trend line break, okay? Because it's still trending. And then, you know, I wanted to just say it's a structure break, which it is. It's just a diagonal structure break. There's a horizontal structure in here, like we mark up as well, as you guys have seen, and it was here, right? So, and we can kind of go back and readjust this in here, and you can see it'll fit. It'll fit quite nicely. And here's our trend line. Okay, here's our break. Okay, and I don't trust this one, but I trust this one, and I also trust this one here because here's our structure right here. Okay, if we go across here, so there's our horizontal structure. In this structure in here, I'm seeing buyers back up above it. I'm looking for them to take it. Okay, and then I was targeting up here, didn't make it. Okay, so take a scratch. or there's other ways to manage it, but let's just keep it simple. And that's what I would have done. Anyway, so let's go through the context in here. So this is trending down in this move here, in this small time frame. And now this is the same on the bigger time frame from yesterday that we showed. Okay, going into that 6,900 yesterday. It's exactly the same thing. Okay, it's just less data. So we're looking for that passive accumulation. Now, once we get a reversal and we start trending, okay, we're not looking for, sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't, but we're not looking for passive accumulation in here. We don't really need it. We already have it here. We have this at our backs. That's why these can lead to really nice moves when they reverse. They can lead to very, very powerful moves because we already have a lot of buyers in here and a lack of sellers in here because they met all these buyers on the bid on the way down. We're just looking for the aggressors now. And we're not looking for sellers here. Here, we're looking for exhaustion. Or in here, this would be the little flag in here. Or even in here, this is kind of another little flag in here. Okay, and it kind of did a multiple thing in here. See, like DNT, like it did, this is a little more complex pattern in here. Still, kind of low volume in here, not the lowest, but kind of low volume in here compared to this over here. This is our impulse move. Okay, this is a mini flag pattern right in here. Okay, so on this here, we don't need to have that passive accumulation, but we definitely need, we see a break, we see a pullback. Instead, what we're looking for in here is actually, let's see, Laura, you did a great job of showing it being dark in here, right? There's no liquidity, there's no market here, there's no sellers in here that are willing to take it lower. They're out of the market. They're going to be selling up in here. So that's what we're targeting now. So we're not looking for much here on the bid. We're looking for it to exhaust out, and we're looking for the aggressors to pick it up again and carry it higher, okay, and target the high liquidity. Okay, so the context is very different for that pullback. And we're looking for low volume in here, low volume on the sell side. Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, so that was it, right? That was all we got out of it, and then it went back and forth in here. Okay, but we took a shot at it. We had our levels. Okay, they weren't the greatest levels, but for intraday, we said that this is a better one for intraday, and then it didn't work out, didn't pan out here. Okay, it was just a small move in here, and then let's look at the picture in here too. What's this look like? Where are our clusters in here of buyers? They're not that much, right? It's not much. So the aggressors really didn't show up here. Okay, let's see if they do now. What about this one? Okay, well, we just traded into the high liquidity down here, okay, and they're coming in. All right, so yeah, I'm looking for them to, this is just too late. I mean, unless you really want to hyper scalp it, you'd be getting in and you'd be getting out up here at 72. Okay. Okay, maybe it'll hit the 75 now, because you can see now, look at the aggressors now, right? See the context. Okay, after trading into high liquidity down here. Now let's just go back and double check. Is this a key level here? This 65. Okay, so now this looks better now, right? So I'm looking for 75. Okay, maybe we'll get up to 80 too. Maybe. Okay, but I would reduce some risk in this environment. Again, I would be front running this by a couple ticks and taking profit. Okay, let's zoom out here. So why this one? Okay, let's look over here. And this is what happened. It came down to where it broke out from here. And we missed this one, right? We missed this one earlier. Okay, but it came right down to where these buyers initiated that move. Okay, and we marked up this level here where it broke that structure. Okay, now what do we have at that level? Okay, again, context. We do have buyers on the bid in here. Okay, and we have some clusters of buyers in here that we noted earlier. In fact, we noted on this little scalp over here, which was kind of paltry compared to some of these in here. Actually, this actually looks better, right? And then it really picked up down here after trading into a level but high liquidity, and then buyers. Okay, they broke the structure, and then we missed it in here. But then we said, okay, well, you know, if you're looking like hyper scalp it maybe to 72, and then maybe we can get up to 75, maybe 80, right? Well, didn't have enough in it for 80. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, if I look at this in here, maybe we have enough buying power in here for 80. But again, like the environment we're in, it's back and forth. So, you know, this is where I just be taking my profits pretty quickly in here. All right. So let's see. Okay, what about this in here? Yeah, I mean, I see the aggressors. I don't like it though. I would stay away from this. This is the kind of chop I don't get that kind of clarity in here, in this area in here. Even for a scalp. So, you know, this is where like, and why, like, you know, we're looking at the replay files that we're going through again and again and again. So you know when you have that edge, you know what it looks like. You've gone through it a million times now. Well, not a million, but maybe several hundred, maybe thousands, some of you guys by now. You know, you're really starting to understand that context. And then it's like, it becomes kind of natural. I mean, you just kind of see it, you kind of know, and you know you know how to press. When the beauty of it is when you press the button, you know you have an edge. You build that edge out not from just trading it in replay mode. That's part of it, and understanding that context with it playing is a huge context to understand. Is huge. Like, it's so much better than looking at, I mean, have you guys, you've probably done this for years. I certainly have, is go back like this and back test things. This is how I used to do it. And, you know, it is so tedious. Like, you know, okay, you know, I'm looking for, you know, here's a pullback in here. Okay, where am I going to look for? You know, maybe I place my stop down here. You know, it pulled back here. I'm seeing some buying come back in. Where's my target going to be? Maybe I'm looking for up here, someplace. How much should it go against me? I have to record this. I have to read it. I have to take this number. I put it into an Excel spreadsheet. And then what do? You go forward tick by or candle by candle. And you go, okay, yeah, all right, I got that one. That one worked. How much did it give me? How much did it go against me, etc. You don't have to do any of that in this. That's just the beauty of it. When you trade the replay file, it's captured here in your journal. and you have data on it. So you're actually just playing it, and you can even fast forward it. That's the beauty of it. You can fast forward it in time and go, 8 times, 16 times the market speed, and you trade it. And then if you don't like it, or it didn't work well, trade it again, and until you get it right and you understand the setup really well. And then you've captured also quantitative data in here. Okay, this is what's God, who's this? I forget. PMags. Yeah, is PMag in here? PMag, I owe you a I know I'm late on this, very late on this, but you requested some feedback on this, so I'm gonna give it to you today, and I did a great job in here, and this is his replay file in here, guys. He's being really honest with it too. Look at these losses in here in replay, right? Every replay file you guys have, like, you just play it for, trade it for real. This is really respectful. I give a lot of respect to PMag in here for taking this very seriously, because most of our replay files are going to they're going to have a positive equity curve, because the setup's in there, you're looking for it, etc. But I think what you'll get the most out of is by taking losses and replaying it again, seeing how you can do better. Incremental changes. This is how you build your edge. Okay. And then look, he's got his trade history here. He's got his notes in here, and he's got his marked up charts in here. He's got a playbook here. He built out a playbook right here. Look at this beautiful stuff. Way to go, PMag. Look at this. Exactly what we're looking at. And you do this like a number of times. Let's see, how many times has he done this in here, right? He's marked up every chart in here. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so here he's traded 82 of these, 82 times in replay mode. That's awesome. Look at his numbers. 65%. Okay, that's great. I mean, in replay mode, I really commend that, because you're being real with it. His losses, average loss, average win is not so good here, so you can work on that one for sure. But biggest win, biggest loss, this is not bad. You want to see like at least 2 to 1 in here, especially in here. So there's room for improvement there. Okay, you guys with me, or am I putting you to sleep? Anyone out there? Come on. All right, Todd Carr, there you go. Excellent. Is it making sense? Do you guys have questions about this in here? All right, Trading's Life, I know you're here, and I was really astounded last night, with Nadia's with her trade. Like, it's been a long week, not my fault. It has. Thanks, Stephen. You're really trying to understand. Got Bookmap yesterday. Okay, Nick. Yeah, you might want to jump into that pilot program, and because it will start off very, very simply with one setup. Nick, I'll go through it really quickly for you. We'll just kind of do it in a synopsis here, like a small example, and then I think we'll call it a day. But first off, Nick, how long you got Bookmap yesterday? But are you familiar with it? How familiar are you with Bookmap? Have you been seeing it for a while? You understand it, or is it like just totally foreign because you don't see candlesticks? Vinfa Trading, nice to see you over in YouTube, but I need to reply to you as well. You're confused with the key levels, which one to trade. Okay, so did that help, Vinfra? We just went through it in detail, like about intraday levels not being that important, key swing levels being important. But this is the thing that drives me crazy is this is what traders will do. You see a lot of traders do this. They'll come in here and say like, here's my demand zone, or here's my supply zone up here. Okay, that's great. That's great. I agree. This is where we found buyers in here. Like, not really too many buyers in here, but we certainly gapped up, right? So you can see the buyers certainly came in here above the gap, right in here, right? Anyway, these are nuances. Okay, buyers, this is where you want to be a buyer, this is where you want to be a seller. Okay, these are kind of key levels for this time frame here on the 15-minute. Okay, great. What matters though is when it comes into here. This is what matters. Okay, what does it look like? That's why we're going through these scenarios. And the scenario for today was we are not buying the breakout here. Okay, in this environment today, well, first off, first filter we had up here was we are not buying up in here today because of the fundamental environment, geopolitical fundamentals, earnings, like for all of these reasons. Warsh, is that, sounds like I'm mispronouncing it, but Warsh is like what I'm reading. Is he? What does the street think of him as a Fed chairman? There's a lot of kind of jitters in here. There's also tech jitters. So there's a lot going on. So we're not looking for follow through on the buy side. Okay, that's number one. Number two, up in this area up in here, we're going to look at the order flow. And this is what's going to give us some sort of edge in here to understand that we're not going to, first off, we're not going to be a buyer. That's going to help. Number two is we're going to look for a potential move back down into some of these areas that we outlined after saying we're not going to be a buyer in here. Okay, what do we see? Okay, well, we got a cluster of buyers in here. We got very little in here, and we said we don't know, but if we get the buyers, we'd look for the move to 90. We didn't get them. What do we get instead? Down to the swing, down to the liquidity in these levels in here. Sellers come in more, come back down to this level in here. Okay, so now we're understanding the context in here. We got buyers up in here into high liquidity and no follow through. Sellers coming in, and then they're bringing it down and starting to target areas in just some of these areas of liquidity as well as swings. Okay, and then we noted, okay, now we're down to the cash open. We go through it a bit, and then we come back up, and we're looking for those buyers to come in. Okay, so this was our key level here. These weren't really key levels in here. These were intraday levels. Okay, this was it. Okay, does that help, Vinfra? All right, hope so. Let's see. Let me jump back and let me answer some questions here. Okay, yesterday had a great day. All right, Nick, way to go. Well, yeah, it's so anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to take this idea of key levels from your candlesticks and then put context of order flow around them. Right, and then we're going to trade it. We have setups to go through. We'll look for them again and again and again, right? And the pilot program the repetition through that setup is what's going to give you your edge, okay? And then collecting the data. Okay, so now what are we doing? Look at sellers coming in. We do have another kind of level down here now. I have an options level here at the figure 69.50, And then, but you can see the overnight in here. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Okay, the overnight is down here. Okay, and then we have market structure as well. So I would say as a key level, right? Okay, what I'm looking for now, it's not the best, okay, because it's an overnight, and you can see where it broke out from here. Okay, so this would be the level I'm looking for. Okay, around this 46 level. Okay, and now I want to see if I get a reaction down there. Does that make sense? Okay, and well, we're not going to talk about the move down to it. That's another setup that we're going to go through with the low volume pullback. Okay, you guys are going to be able to trade all over the place if you like, but you know, we look for the aggressors to drive toward those areas, and if there's liquidity. Now let's take a look here. Is there liquidity here? No, I don't see it. I don't see it until down maybe a little at 45 and then down here at 35. Okay, maybe it changes. It's a dynamic environment. Maybe the bid starts to really build out here. And we just traded into high liquidity here at 55. It went a little bit lower, and now we're finding a few buyers. All right, nothing, no. Not looking for anything. Okay, so again, you're that hunter, you know, just waiting, you know, in the tree or wherever you are, and it's not a good opportunity. It's not a good shot. Okay, so low volume pullback, kind of. I don't like it, but it's holding the structure, right? So let's see if we get follow through on that low volume pullback. It would be like really here, sellers, they got to break it here and trade into. Now we're getting some high liquidity at 69.50. Okay, we look for that move into it and maybe through. Okay, I don't like this cluster of buying in here, and that would kind of make me shy away from looking for it. I just don't see the aggressors coming in either on the sell side here. Okay, something like this looks much better, right? Broke down, pulled back, not many buyers. Funny enough, it just kind of grinded lower here. I would look for a pretty quick move on that one, but you don't get it until here. Okay, now we're getting our sellers. Okay, so they should hit into 50, and they should. Yeah, I'm looking for them to break it here. We'll see. But you know, we looked at this kind of 45, 46 level down here as being a little more important. All right, so Nick, I said we'd go through it in here quickly. Let's just do this. I will take everything off the chart here. We'll leave the volume bars on, but we'll take the volume dots off and the heat map off. Okay, all we have now, we don't even have candlesticks. We have just price action, pure price action. Okay, it's just best bid and offer going back and forth. The beauty in best bid and offer here, compared to candlesticks, is you see every little wiggle in here. You know, even your candlestick or your footprint chart is going to be a bar of aggregated data. Okay, if you want an example, we'll just put it in here, go to our setting, and look at maybe 1 minute bars is fine. Okay, so we don't know what happened in this move here, and we know that it moved down and it really picked up speed, but then it really consolidated down here. And we see a retracement all the way back up, more than half of it. And then we come back down again. Anyway, so you don't see all the price action. Okay, the candlesticks, they obscure that. So here we see all the price action. This is where we can start to mark up market structure. Okay, this is a key thing to look for in order flow. We want to understand the order flow within the market structure. Okay, that's why we're drawing up these lines and understanding, like in here. Okay, let's just draw this up. Okay, so here's a trend line. Okay, it kind of broke here, but it failed, so we can move it over here. Okay, now look at the structure here as well. Okay, cluster, slightly break it, another cluster, and then now in here, let's look for some context in here, because we actually have two breaks of structure in here. Okay, this little area here, okay, at this 53, and then also this diagonal here at the same area. Okay, so what we're looking for this to reverse, and we got to move here. Okay, we even got the pullback to here, and we're going to look at the volume and the order flow in here, but just understand the structure first. And the structure's here. All right, just start to mark it up and start to understand structure and price action. Okay, now let's add a context. Once we start to understand that, okay, let's add a context. Keep this really simple. Okay, but just understand what these things are first, and then this context will make sense. Okay, so here we're looking at this context, heavy selling in here, countered with some, nice little cluster of buying, not enough, continued on lower, and we see not so much heavy selling. This is what we saw earlier, right? It's like not so much heavy selling here. Kind of turn around, then we see it here, and this is where I was looking for it to break, right? And trade. Well, we're at 50 just about, and maybe 46. What did we get instead? Kind of go back and forth, come back up. We get buyers. They broke the structure, and the buyers pick up. Okay, so we have a context between the volume of aggressive market buy orders or sell orders within this structure, and if they are breaking it on heavy volume, I'm looking for them to test areas of high liquidity and other structural areas. Okay, does that make sense, Nick? Trying to keep it real simple. Okay, just forget about candlesticks and retracements and Fibonacci's, and forget all that stuff and just think about these things: volume and structure. Right, and we have a context. Okay, so we broke out of this little structure, and this one here, this structure here is a bigger structure. Okay, it failed, it broke out of it, it failed, and it came back in. It retested back down here where these buyers came in, and we got some selling, but a little bit of a back and forth, and we got some buying, and this is kind of hard to read in here. Okay, I mean, up here, and then some sellers, they could have taken it down. They didn't. Buyers came back in again, and then we broke this structure. Right, now we're breaking them and then coming back in, testing where the buyers came in. Okay, these are things to take away from. Testing where they came back in. Okay, so that's one thing. Now another thing, we're almost done, Nadia, so we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend. Another thing to look for is the next context, level of context, and that's who's taking the other side of the trade. Someone's got to take it, right? So that's where we look at the liquidity, the heat map. Okay, now this one, let's actually filter it. I'm going to right click on it and go to heat map settings, and we'll make it a little easier to read here, okay, by using the upper and lower cutoff. Okay, so there now we can see this a little bit better. Okay, we filtered out some of the noise. Okay, so where's their high liquidity? Where are the passive orders here? Okay, well, there's some down here at 50. There was some up in here. There was nothing down here, and we didn't get sellers. So this is kind of interesting. So there's your low volume pullback, a very deep low volume pullback. Okay, and then we trade up into high liquidity up here. Okay, they came in, you know, this is aggressive passive liquidity. Let's put it that way, because they're aggressive in the sense that they are at a lower area within this micro or smaller structure area here. They're not on the outside, they're here inside. Okay, so that they want to get filled, and they did, and it actually had an effect on price. And we come back down again, and then so now look at this in here. Okay, if we get some buyers right now, right here, I'd look for them to trade right up in this liquidity up in here. Okay, 67. Maybe we can get enough power, buying power, to trade up into 66 or maybe to 70. Right? Maybe. Okay, we need to see that buying power. Okay, so just putting these pieces together in terms of context. Okay, what would be really helpful is maybe they step up the bid. There they go. See how they stepped up the bid just a little bit right in there. Okay, we saw that. Okay, right in here, also down in here, and the reaction was buyers. Okay, so now we can look for and target these areas of high liquidity where the sellers are up here. Okay, well, we trade into this, and that was it, 66 1/4. That was all we got out of it. Okay, and the sellers come right back in. Okay? That's the environment we're in. So we didn't get follow through on this. We didn't get up to 70. That's the day we're, you know, we kind of outlined it from the very beginning. That, you know, this is the kind of day we're looking for. So taking your profits early in some of these areas, not a bad idea, or at least moving your stop up to break even pretty quickly. Oh, you're looking at SPY. That's why. Nick, this is another thing. Like, so you got NQ. You've got look up the ES. Okay, this instrument here. Different instruments trade different ways. Okay, the SPY in here is it's just heavily arbitraged and hedged, and you can see that in the price, not the price action. You can see that in the liquidity heat map. Larger players, these like stripes in here. Okay, you can still use this in here. It's harder to use, but you'll see areas where there's high liquidity that stays in there, and has an impact. Okay, we'll just find that you know, the S&P E-mini is a little bit easier to read. Okay. All right, so there we go. Those are the three elements in here, and that's the context. Now, understanding that is the first step. The next step is we'll put it into a setup. Okay, something where you can build out an edge. All right, and let me show you that one. Where that is you can go to the Learning Center. Just hit the education button on bookmap.com, and then come down here to, okay, so yeah, we have it designed this way. So getting started, understanding the features, and then understanding these market mechanics. Nick, if you haven't watched this one, this is a great one in here, at least part 1. Okay, there's a 4-part educational course. And then these supply and demand setups in here might be a good place to start. And you can get more advanced with some of these other traders. Okay, so this one was kind of a carry on or a follow through into just understanding supply and demand in here, and then some of these patterns in here, how they fit with supply and demand. All right, so we just went through the elements and the context of the elements one at a time in here, and I hope that helps. Okay, so like right now, let's see here. So we came back down and we traded back down to the structure here. Okay, some liquidity here filled here. I don't like it. I don't like this at all. I'm not getting much out of this at all. I do like this area here as a target. I mean, you can kind of see it came down here, and then, you know, we see the buyers come in, but only back up to this liquidity level here. Sellers coming back in. Let's see if they can hit this one here at 56.5. Okay, it looks pretty good to me. I would look for it. I see some selling pressure. and it's not working out. Not working out. Okay, why not? Why not? Well, let's look left. Okay, there's a big cluster of buying right here. Okay, that's where it came back down to. Okay, so now buyers are right back. Okay, now let's see, sellers, are they going to take it right back down? Or after this, another attempt up here, do we have enough buyers to now hit back up into our 66, 67, and maybe 70? Come on, buyers, let's see it. Just up to 67 here. Okay, so my bad on that, but this cluster here is where we came back down, and then we saw the reaction in here. We didn't even need the high liquidity in here. There was just so much buying in here. Okay, so the aggressors, lack of sellers, aggressors came back in, and now just about up here at 67. Still looking for one more little push here. And that's it, and I'd be getting out. Okay. Anyway, thanks for coming, everybody. We will I'll see you in the pilot program room, and you know, I'll be spending a lot more time in there this following weeks in here, and a lot more materials for you guys. We'll be going through the same things again and again, and putting these pieces together. You'll be able to read it like a book, you know, and put these pieces together. The beauty of it is, like, you guys in the program, you know, Trading is Life, Shark, DNT, Robert, a lot of you guys you're seeing it. I mean, well, you guys are experts at it. Laura, you see it really well, and it's becoming second nature for you, and you trust your edge, and it's just from doing the repetitions in here, learning, and you know, it's great stuff. So I'll have a lot more materials, though, to filter out, again, starting top-down approach like we started the day, about, you know, why we're looking for fading moves from outside edges back in, and then continue on, you know, this mode in here until, and taking profits quickly in here, and then talking about some of these other not so important levels in here compared to more important levels. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you hopefully next week or in the pilot program room, and we'll take it further. All right. Yeah. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.